If you're like me and find great satisfaction in fixing traffic jams in city skylines, then I know you're going to love diving into the world of Shapez 2. Just like optimizing road networks for flow, Shapez 2 is all about setting up smooth, efficient systems, only this time, instead of cars, we're moving shapes. That's right, the clue is in the name. Now, I know some of you might get overwhelmed with the huge amount of options and stats and all these super efficient builds that you might see on the internet, but I've got something to tell you, you don't have to play that way. Today I'm going to show you why Shapez 2 is a fantastic way to get into the factory and automation game genre, both for fans of complex systems and satisfying problem solving, but also for those of us that just want to grab a cup of tea, sit back and relax as we solve the traffic on our conveyor belts and reap the rewards that are thrown upon us along the way. I'd like to say a big thank you to the devs for sponsoring this video. I'm going to pin a comment below with a link and also in the description so you can check out Shapez 2 for yourself. Right, let's dive in, and we're going to take a look at 3 different areas that can help you to conquer Shapez 2. Let's go. So when you start off, this is what you're seen with, and it gives you a very, very brief introductory tutorial to help you out. And this is the main platform. This is the vortex where we want all of our shapes to go into. And as you'll see, we've got available to us squares and circles, and down here more squares and more circles, which is really good. I love the graphics on these. It's like they're being sucked up from these asteroids here and brought up to this platform. So the first thing we want to do is place some extractors. So we click on here, we can press R to rotate these around, you can drag to place them down, all very simple. You'll notice down here as well, we've got keys to select these, so 1 for conveyor belts and also 5 for extractors as well. So we're going to go for 1. As you'll notice, we can drag these and set an anchor. Press C, set an anchor, press C, and then we can drag it all the way through here, all the way to the end, and we saw the little green tick. So we know that that's going to work. That will start filling up that conveyor belt. And like many factory games, we can speed up all of these items as we go along, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So they're going to get flung across, and we know that that's going to work because right at the end, we've got our main shape. And there we go, our shapes are going in. So now we're going to use the half destroyers. So over here, we have milestones, and we have these 2 milestones with the total that we're aiming for. And what I really like about this is every time you click one of these new items, these new buildings down here for our factory, we get told up here the amount for saturating a line. At the moment, that is the speed of our conveyor belts, and we need 3 of those, and we can drag those down here like so. Then we can get our conveyor belt, and just by dragging it, it will automatically connect to the buildings like that. Very, very simple. So as we look at these, you can see the blue side is the side that we are going to lose. So it's going to cut down the middle, destroy the blue side. So that's like a visual indication to help you with what is going on. So it says here, as that is working away, we can leave that one running. We know we're getting the correct shape up here. So rather than waiting, let's get some squares out as well. So I'm going to go across to the other side. We have some squares, and I'll just set up a similar system. And there we go. We've completed the amount of circles that we need, or half circles that we need. So now we're going to rotate and cut. That is another item because now we need quarters. So for this tutorial, it's showing us what we need. And to help us to do that, right click will just automatically delete things, which is great. So we're going to pop in some rotators right here. So we'll select number 2 for that. And you'll see what the outcome is as well, which is great. So it's going in as this half, coming out as that half to help you to visualize what's happening. We're then going to cut that in half, and it will cut straight down the middle. So let's pop those in. So now we can see we're going to get the quarter, and the vortex in the middle will accept that shape in any rotation, which I believe is a change from Shapez 1. So that is really handy. So we're going to drag that down, select that, and connect it back up again. And there we go. We're going to start sending those in. We've now also finished the squares, which were over here, of course. So they've been going in. So now we want to do the same with the squares. We want to cut those in half and send those in. So we know what to do, don't we? We're going to get those to cut. It's going to tell us 3 of those for a fully saturated line. I'm then going to use the picker mod. Press C over something else. There we go. I say the picker mod. It's not really a mod, is it? It's part of the game. and that will automatically select what we need. And if I did it correctly, I really should drag from this end up. There we go. And that will automatically send every other one up there. A bit like a manifold. It will sort of saturate this line, then just keep sending them up that way if there's no room to send them this way. There we go. That cuts them in half, and that starts sending them in. And we're going to check down here. So even though that's a different rotation from this one, it accepts it. It's perfectly fine. So very quickly, this one up here will finish, and then we'll see what we need to do next. And you'll notice that the green tick goes from a green tick to not a green tick, because we don't actually need that one anymore, but it's still accepting them for now, so we'll leave it as it is. So very quickly, you've already learned the basics of placing machines, clicking, dragging, deleting, and hitting the milestones. So let's have a look at our goals, our milestones, and our tasks. We can click in the top left up here. So we've done the basic. They call that the 0 milestone. We work through those shapes, as you remember. So now we can unlock the very first milestone, which is the stacker and the second floor. So let's click that. There we go. And we get a little bit of an information about how that is going to work. We'll talk through that. Don't worry about all of this down here. It becomes very apparent as we work our way through. So to be honest, I'm going to close this and we're not going to worry about it because we're trying to keep things nice and simple. So let's back out of this menu, and already we can see what our next options are. So this one down here, I'm going to take the second one. We've almost got this one going in. So this now doesn't accept this shape. We want to cut that in half, don't we? And we already know when it cuts in half, it goes from top to bottom. So I'm going to delete that. And we're going to put in here our cutters. And as we place that down, we can see it's not going to work because it doesn't cut from top to bottom. It cuts from left to right. So we need to rotate those. Let's put the rotators in. There we go. Then we're going to remove that one. And then we're going to cut. Aha. Now we get the shape that we want. So isn't it a good idea to have this little option here to see what is going to happen? Let's pick a pick of that. Get that one to come out, and we're going to start tickling away at this 240 that we need of this shape here, and that will get sent into the vortex. So then we can concentrate on this slightly more difficult one, but not too bad, this stacker here. So let's have a look at the stacker first of all. We'll place that one down, and as it tells you there, stackers are slow, so you're always going to need a few of those. And you can see there's a bottom level and there is a top level. Now, one thing that's very interesting in the game is you can press Q and E to go up and down. So E goes up, Q goes down, and you get this nice little effect here, so you can tell you're on the second floor, which helps when we're stacking items. So maybe we can bring in some squares from down here, some circles from up there. We will meet them in the middle. We're going to get some stackers, and it says they're slow, that we're going to need 6, and it says up here 6 will give us 10 a minute. So let's go for that. I'm going to leave a little bit of space here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll drag that out. This doesn't need to come as far. And what do we need on the bottom? We need the square on the bottom. When we click on the shape here, we get a little bit more information, which we can spin that around and have a look. For this shape, not too complicated. For some of the more complicated shapes, this might be helpful. But yeah, we can definitely see the square is on the bottom. So let's pick a pick of that. Thank you very much. We know how to do that. And let's drag this up here, and that is going to connect to the bottom section. This one I want on the top. So we're going to pick a pick of that. And as I come forward, I'm holding the left mouse button still. I'm going to press E to go up. Now I'm on the second floor, and I drag as normal. And we can see that these items are taking up a lift. They're now on the top. They're going to go in, and they're going to get dropped on top of the squares when they get here. And then all we need to do is connect this up. So let's pick a pick of that. We're going to go up this way, set an anchor, and come into there. We can see that is the shape we're going to get out of this line, which is exactly what we want. And there we go. The stack shapes are starting to appear. They're going to work their way down the line. And as soon as they come down here, we'll get a little tick. And this other one here has only got 38 left to go. And that will give us another option that we can unlock. There we go. That one's completed. But just before we move on from that, let's just take a look at our milestones, our tasks, and our upgrades. So we've already seen the milestones. We're trying to work through this shape, which we're then going to cut in half, as you can see. We're then going to cut it in half again. That will complete the first section of our milestone. Then we have this one here, which is the quarter, which we're working on. We're then going to stack it. Then we're going to flip it, and that will complete this milestone. Then we'll move on to the second one, which gives us blueprints. So that's how that works. Then we'll get 2 for there. We'll go through to space platforms. Then after that, we can select the harder factories. Our tasks. Now these help us get science points, as you can see there, or research points, which will be shown up the top here. And then you can spend those unlocking things. And as you can see, these quite often relate to shapes we've already got. So we can stack on top of here a circle on a circle. When we've done that amount, we get a research point. We cut it in half, we get 2 more. Cut it in half, get 2 more. Flip it, I'm just going to say, and we even get 6. So I want to work through these as well as the main milestone task. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that and I'm going to pin that one down there. And we're going to take a look at this. And then once we've unlocked our science points, if we click on upgrades, we can then start using those. So 2 science points here will upgrade level 1 belts, another 2 here, level 1 cutting, another 2 here, level 1 stacking. And that just basically speeds everything up. Now, me, to be honest, I'm not going to sit down with a calculator and start working through all of these and think, what can I do? What can I add up? What can I add more of or less of? And all that sort of thing. I just want to enjoy the game. So I do view it visually very much as I would if I was solving traffic. So I would look at a line and think, well, I know at the minute that this amount saturates that line. We can see it saturated. If I start seeing gaps appearing in the line, I then tend to go back, add a couple more machines and see whether we can fill that line up. And as it's an idle clicker game, really, you can just let things work their way through while you're fiddling around, adding, removing. It doesn't cost anything. You can try stuff out. And as you'll see, you'll very easily start working through your milestones and things. So let's try our first pin task over here of a circle on a circle. So we've got these circles coming out here. They're all being used for this system. I'm not going to mess with that. The next one around is a square. So we've got all of these circles over here not being used. Let's bring some out. There we go. So we'll get all of our circles there, which is good. And then we want to stack these on top of each other. So again, we're going to go for 6 of these. There we go. Excellent. And then I think I'm going to take this one along here to fill up the bottom half. And we can see it will split like that, which is great. And then we're going to take this one here. We'll pick a picker and we'll go up. And you can take that one in that way and that one that way. And that will put those on top of each other. Excellent. Let's go back down again. And then we want all of those to go into, let's use this one down here. Excellent. So now that will start working away, stacking a circle on top of a circle once it's filled up. There we go. Very good. And we get all the way along to the end here. We can see we're getting the correct shape. So while we were doing that, the game has moved forward. We have hit our next little milestone. We've done those 2. Now we want to cut this one in half, the circle on top of a square. So let's find that one in our little grid here. Let's go around again. There we go. We've got the circle on top of the square. We just basically want to cut that. So there's a couple of ways we can do this. Let's take the cutters and see what that says. So that's going to take 3 on a normal line. So if we just take that one out there, I'm just thinking the best way we can do this. I mean, it doesn't really matter. So if we just rotate that around, 1, 2, 3, like so. I'm going to pick a pick of that up there, and I'm going to do that one there. And then we can just watch, and we know it's going to destroy the blue half. So that's worth keeping in mind. But that's going to give us the half that we need. Either half would do, obviously. And that will start running its way through there. Now, what I'm going to do is just visually keep an eye on this and see whether we're filling up this line. Now, as it starts going and filling up this one and this one and this one, we're getting a gap, aren't we, every few. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now it's filling up. There we go. So I know I'm completely saturating that line. So I'm going to leave it. That's fine. That's going to get us what we need. We've got the tick. That's working its way through. And there we go. That is now going in properly. So we'll start getting that one down there. So our second milestone that we're working down is 2 quarters stacked on top of each other from a square. Well, we know we've already got quarters here. So let's use this system over here where we already have the quarters coming out. I don't want to sort of split this line off. We know that that's nicely balanced. So I'm going to bring out some more of these over here. And we're going to make use of the different levels that we've got. Oops, let's do that. Let's set an anchor. Let's go through there. I want to go up and over this build. So I'm going to press E. We're going to go up. and then we're going to go down, and then we're going to go along. There we go. So now we've got 2 rows of those squares coming out. And I would basically want to copy this so we can get our 2 quarters. So I'm just going to do picker, and picker. There we go. Excellent. There we go. And I'm just going to break that off of there. We want to stack one of these on top of the other one. And we know they're both going to be the same side because we've copied the whole setup. So let's set up some stackers. 3, 4, 5, 6. Excellent. I'm going to just delete that one there. This one is going to go along here. And then this one is going to go up. So we'll drag it to there. Click E. There we go. And if I actually drag it properly, it will connect. Good. So now we know we're going to get out of here 1 quarter stacked on another quarter, and we already know it doesn't matter which way around it faces. So let's hook all of those up and it will go into there. So we do that line first and we'll get that one into there. Brilliant. And that will give us our stacked quarters. Very good. So this one down here is finished, this other task. So it's highlighted in green. We can click on that. It takes us to our task list. So now we can unlock a science point, which is fantastic. And with that shape, we could just cut that in half to get 2 more science points. So I'm going to pin that one. Well, it already was pinned, so I'm going to pin it again. And that'll be very quickly another 2 science points we can get. So let's find where we had our stack circles. Here we go. And I'm just going to cut those in half. There we go. It's as simple as that. And once this line has been saturated, it fills up, comes out of here, and these few have gone. We'll see this symbol at the end has already changed to tell us what we've got. And once the first one gets through, there we go. We get a tick. Excellent. So we can keep working along this one. And then the next one, it gets cut in half again, and we can get another couple of science. So we'll leave that one going. We're about to finish this one up here, which we know is from our milestones. And we know what's coming next is that's going to be cut in half. So let's go and find that on our grid. Okay, here we are. We're almost at the end of that milestone. So we're going to want to cut these in half. So we know we're going to rotate them. If you put our cutter down, we can see with that little icon there in the middle that we're losing the left half, keeping the right half. Well, that's not going to work there because the whole shape is on the right half. So we're going to rotate these first of all. So what I'm probably going to do is just replace that there once we hit the 400. There we go. So I can just pop those right over the top. And then we can cut them. I'm going to pop that there, and we can see we're getting the right shape out. So then I'm going to grab our belt and just hook that back up again. It's as easy as that. And you notice there's been no math so far. I haven't had to add things up in my head, get a calculator or a spreadsheet out or anything like that. The little pop-ups up here are fantastic for helping you know how to saturate a line. Or you can just use your eyeballs. So we're going to let that one tick away then. We're getting a nice tick there, which is good. This one's ticking its way through. That one's ticking its way through. Is there anything that we can add to speed things up? Let's take a look. Well, let's take a look down here. We've also got our halves with halves task. A square on top of a square. Well, let's add that one in. And that should be pretty simple to do. And then we've got a pyramid, which is a square on a square on a square. I think that one should be pretty easy to do as well. So we've got a whole section of squares here that we are not using at all. So let's get these out. There we go. So that's going to bring all of our squares out this way. Now, there's 2 ways you could do this. You could just do the square on top of a square. Once you've hit that task, then add the extra line to put another square on top, but I'm just going to do both at once. So let's do this top section here. We'll just do a square on top of a square. We know we want the stackers. We know we want 6 of those. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to drag this one for the bottom section. And I'm going to use this one. I'm going to go up, and that is going to be for the top section. So that will give us a square on top of a square. There we go. This section down here, I'm just thinking, yeah, we're going to use this one for the square on top of a square on top of a square. It's going to be slightly slower as we've only got 2 inputs, but I think it'll be fun. Let's give it a go. So what we are going to have to do is split off this line here, which we'll do in a moment. So let's go up. We'll pop this one in here first. So that'll give us the square on top of a square. But then what I'm going to do here is split this one out. In fact, we don't even need that. We could just put another load of stackers here. No, we need some space. Let's do that. Then we're going to connect these up on the bottom here. So I'm not dragging, so I don't want them all connected. They're individually going to go in. And then I've got space to run another line up the top here. And we want these squares as they are. Like this. So I'm going to go like there. And then from here, I'm going to go up and in. So that's going to give us a square on top of a square on top of a square. A little bit slower, but that'll be fine. And then we're going to take all of those in up here. And then we look at the shape at the end. That's it. We're going to do it. We've already done this one. So by the time we've set up one, the other one's completed. And also this task has completed as well. And I believe the next one on this task list, we're just going to cut that one in half. So I am most definitely going to find that on our grid. Here we go. Circle on a circle. It's a half. We just want to cut that in half. So let's get rid of all of that there just to give us a little bit of space. We know our cutting is going to go from top to bottom. So we need to rotate these first. Then we need to cut. Then we can see what we're getting at the end, which is great. So we are going to bring that straight into there. Excellent. And we can leave that one ticking away nicely. Now we can see our upgrades are flashing because we've been unlocking these research points. We've got 3 and we've got some things we can do here. What I tend to do with these is just take them in order. Again, if you wish to do the maths, you can. So I'm going to take this first one here and then we're going to go back to our grid. So now we know that these belts are going to be running faster. You might like to double up on the stuff that you're doing. So for instance, this one here, I would say doubling up isn't necessarily what we're going to be doing because we went from 60 to 90. But as we're trying to do this as a relaxed playthrough, rather than worrying about the maths, what I might just do is add. So I'm holding the picker and grabbing those. Is just add. That can just go straight into there, can't it? Let's do it this way. That would make more sense. That can go into there. Maybe add another one on. And you can visually see, again, whether you're saturating the line. Because over here, we can see we're going to a gap, a gap, to a gap. So give this a second since we've added this one on here and see what happens. Yeah, we're almost there. Every now and again, we'll get a gap, which means we could probably expand this little setup over here. Again, very simple. Picker. I'm going to add 2 of these. We're going to run that over there as well. We're going to go up to the next level. I'm going to run that through there. We'll go back down the level again. So that's just using Q and E. And we'll just hook that up and just speed this up a bit. And to be honest, by the time you've fiddled around a little bit, we've got the tick. We can just move on and we don't have to worry about that one too much. So what have we got on the list here? Let's have a look. Well, we've finished this task. So the square on a square is done. Let's click on that one. We can unlock that science point. The next thing is just to cut it in half. So let's do that. So this shouldn't be too complicated. We just need to cut all of these in half. So let's just delete that there just to give us some space. We'll take our cutter. And because we're facing a different direction, we can see our cutter is losing the bottom half here. It's always the west half. You can see down here, we've got our compass. So north, east, south, west. So it's this half here that we're going to be losing. So that's fine. So we're going to bring that all the way down to there. We're going to pick of that, bring that in. And we'll bring these in. And then we'll do the one I forgot at the top. There we go. Excellent. So we're now cutting that in half. And that will start filling up this need down here. And now we've finished the top one. If we click on that, I don't think we cut this one in half. But we'll grab the science. So now we want to add another square on top of that one. So let's find that in our grid and see how easy that's going to be. So that's just below down here. So I'm thinking... could we bring out some more squares and split this one and bring it round and have that as our extra square on top? So what I'm going to do is just stop all of these coming out of there. We know we're going to need some stackers. So I'm going to pick of that with a gap in between again, like we had before. These ones we want to connect up. So let's pick of that and just individually click to get those to go through. And then we want another line up the top here. And I'm thinking, could we just split off this one here? So I don't think we've got enough room to do it down there. So let's do that. We'll go along. We'll go up. We'll go all the way along. Excellent. We'll then come down here. We'll go one further. Oh, we've got to do an anchor. Let's go there. An anchor. We'll go an anchor there. And then that will just connect up. Excellent. So we've now got things jumping below and above, which is great. Look at that. And there we go. The first ones are going through. Excellent. So we'll let that... I mean, we're getting more and more complicated, but actually it doesn't feel like it's getting too complicated, does it? We're just keeping things nice and simple. So this one up here has finished. Let's click on that. We can get some more science. So we'll unlock that. We've got 6 science now. And then on this section here, we've got the last one that we can do. Now, I would say this is probably well, it is the most complicated out of these four, but it isn't as complicated as it looks. We've already made that shape. We just need it twice and we need it flipped over. So that's good. We've got it down here. Let's go back to our grid and find that. Okay, here we go. So we've got that shape. So what we want to do now is split that off and stack that on top of each other. Now, we've not left too much room here for doing that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just delete that. Could I move all this back one? Do you know what? I'm going to show you doing that because it is so easy to do. So if we remove all of that, there we go. I'm going to do this. I'm going to just use the picker, do that, picker, do that. So we don't need that anymore. We don't need that anymore. Picker, we're going to do that. Don't need that anymore. And then picker, we do that. Don't need that anymore. And then picker, 1, 2, 1, 2. There we go. And now suddenly we've got all the space that we need. So let's get the stackers. We need a bit of space there. So we're going to go, let's go 3 stackers and we'll see how it goes. These 3 are going to connect into the bottom there. These 2 are going to go up. So press E, go along to the top. And then if we go back down again, we can see the shape that we want. That is exactly it. So we're going to bring that down and into there. There we go. Excellent. So now we've got the space. They go in there. These 2 go up there. And we get the space that we need. Fantastic. So again, while we've been doing that, one of our other tasks is finished. So let's take a look at that one. Yep, we'll unlock that. This one's getting a little bit more complicated. We will come back to that one. This one down here, we're already working our way through. So let's go back to our milestones then. We're almost at the end of our milestone. We've got this last shape. Then it will move us on to blueprints. So that is basically 2 quarters flipped one on either side and stack. So that is more or less what we've just done here. So let's just swing around, find our quarters. Well, there's our quarters all put on top of each other. Could we... Let's have a look round here. Yeah, I don't want to mess with that. Let's change this up a bit. So don't be afraid while you're doing this to just remove stuff. We don't need to keep all of this at the moment. It doesn't take too long to set up again if we do need it. So let's just take all of that out. There we go. So we've got our quarters that we need. Well, of course, I'm a complete idiot. In this instance, we don't even need to rotate these ones down here, do we? So we can just do those 3 like that, and they can stack right on top of there, and it's no problem at all. Oh, man. See? Sometimes the most obvious thing isn't always the most obvious. So let's do that. We're going to get these ones going in down here. And then we'll get these ones going in up the top. And then that can come back along here and connect up that way. Excellent. And then we can come out there and get all of that going in. Brilliant. There we go. And as that hits the vortex, you'll see that is starting to add up over here. And we've finished another task, which is great. Let's click on that one. We get 4 signs. So we've finished the pyramid line down there, which is fantastic. So another task that we have is half and half. This one looks a little bit more complicated. Let's check this one out. We're going to click on there, just rotate a bit. So what are we getting here? We are getting the bottom layer is half a circle, half a square stacked. And then we're going to get another half a square stacked on top of that. Do we want to do that? Well, we can do and get 2 science. Do I have to do that? No, I don't. You don't have to work through these if you don't want to. If we go back to our milestone, this is basically the main thing to aim at. But if you want more science, then you can do your tasks and you can always come back to these later as you feel more confident. But let's have a look at our research points, see what else we can have that might help us. So at the top here for 6 points, research points, we can have a cutter that separates the west and the east half, because our cutter at the moment destroys the west half and we only get the east half. So if we're having to use 2 shapes when we're cutting, like these ones here, we're halving basically what we can do. But with this, we could take both halves and then build with those. So that might be quite good. We've got a swapper. Well, we don't have enough science for that. We have the trash. Can also be used for decorational purposes. So yeah, we might go for that one a bit later, but I'm quite interested in this cutter. So we're going to take that for 6 science. And then we can also upgrade the speed of the cutting as well. We'll take that. And then our next 2 will get the speed of the stacking. So I'm looking at this slightly more complicated task that we've got here. And I want to find somewhere where we've got easy access to circles and squares that aren't being used. Well, we've got over here some squares. We've got over here some circles. And if we follow down to the end, we're not using these. which is fine. And we're not using either of these. We've finished our pyramid line. So we could leave that there, or we could just hold shift, select the whole thing and delete it. And I'm probably going to do the same down here as well. So now we've got access to circles and squares that aren't being used, and we can bring out more if we need to. Let's bring them to a central point and see what we can do. So first of all, for the bottom in this shape, we just need half of a circle. That's all we need. So we've got our circles coming in. We take our cutter. There we go. We're going to get half a circle, which is fine. Then for the, and then we're going to need to rotate that, aren't we? If you have a look at that. So let's pop a rotator in. We can rotate that the other way. There we go. So that will just visually help me to keep it with that. And the next thing we're going to do is be stacking those, aren't we? So the bottom half of it, we need to stack half a square. There we go. We can see that there. So let's maybe then cut these squares. So that will give us a half. We'll then rotate that as well. And I want that on the other side. So I'll press tab and that will be on the other side. And then I can stack those two together. It says we need 9 with the speed that we've got at the moment. So let's go. I'm going to go for 6. I'm not going to do what it says because I think that will be okay at the moment. And I'm going to give myself a little bit more space. And then I want the circles to come in at the bottom here. There we go. And I want these to go in at the top. There we go. Excellent. And then we go back down here. We'll see the shape that we're going to get out is that shape. Excellent. And then we want another half a square to go on top of that. So we are going to put that over here. And we've got all of these other squares over here, which we've got plenty of space. So I'm going to just bring that one. Let's see, I could just use this space here and I could bring that round this way. I'm just sort of planning ahead. We're going to do our cutting over here. So that is going to go into the stackers. There we go, like so. And then this one is going to go on the top. So let's just pick of that. We're going to go there and there. That will be up and that will go in. So that will be the other half of the square over here. So let's just do that. We're going to cut those in half. So that is 3. To fully saturate a line. I might just bring it over there. There we go. And that's actually going to be facing the wrong way, as we've seen. So let us rotate those. We just need, it says 2 of those. So I might just move that up here. Let's just delete that. And we can connect that on there. There we go. And that'll rotate those around if I've done that correctly. Yeah, excellent. And then they'll come in on the top. And we can see we're getting the shape that we need. So now we can just bring that one out and we can join that onto there. That's fine. And again, you can do a visual inspection. Are any of the lines backing up? Do I really need to speed it up? Could I just have another cup of tea and let this thing whirl away? Do you know what? I think that's what I'm going to do. We'll just let that thing whirl away and we'll be fine. This one over here is almost finished and so is that one almost finished. So is there any other task that I could add that we could do? We've completed that one. I don't really want to get into these ones down here, to be honest. So we'll leave those for now until we've got a little bit further in the game. Oh, we're almost there. Let's check out our milestones. We have unlocked blueprints. But just before we do that, we can look at our task. We finished this shape. 6 extra science points, which is fantastic. This one is working itself away. What do we want to go for? I think we're going to be doing a lot of stacking. I'm going to go for that one. We're going to get the trash. There we go. And we'll save up the swapper for our next 12 points. Let's just let this one finish, which is going to give us, I can't remember how many points when we get there, another 2. Do you know what? I'm going to take this last one over here because it gets us to have a look at the new cutter. So instead of the old one, which was the half destroyer, we now cut and we get both pieces, which is fantastic. So I want to make this shape here, which is, we just explode that a little bit. So we're going to use both halves of that circle. We're going to stack those first of all. That's just the way my brain works. I'm just going to move that down a little bit to here so we get a bit of space to play with. So let us rotate that. We're going to cut that and we're going to get the 2 halves out. I then want to rotate both of those. So that's fantastic. That one that way. And then I want that one to go that way. Very good, very good. And interestingly enough, what did that say? 2 per line. So I'm wondering whether we could make this even better. I'm not sure whether this is mathematically correct, but we're just going to do it because that's what we're doing. We're just having fun. We don't really care, do we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to go for that. Pick of that, and we're going to get all of those into there. Oh, something else has been finished. That's what I like to see. This one I'm going to bring down to the end. I'm then going to go up and bring that all the way in on the top. Excellent, that should be fine. And then out of here, we'll get that half that we need. So then the other half, we want to basically do the same as that with a square. Now, if we have blueprints, we could copy that. Let's have a look at our milestones. Let's unlock blueprints. Oh, fantastic. So now we can copy and paste. So it says do the milestone shapes first. We've got the side quest. That's what we've been doing. There's a little bit of information on what's coming up. So let's have a brief look at the blueprints and see how we can use all of this. So as it says, we hold shift, we select a whole area, we can copy it, and then we can paste it. That is as easy or as difficult as it gets. So let's use that and do the same thing, although with a slight twist for the squares. Well, let's pop that up the top here because we've got some square lines that are coming out right next to this, which is good. We can then just run one of those into there. So now we're not going to quite get out what we want. It's the other way around. I could adjust all of this in here, which, I mean, I could do, or we could just rotate them at the end, but that is going to slow things down. So what I think I'm going to do is swap these around. So that should give us the side that we want. Excellent. And then basically we want to stack that on top of this. Where are we going to put our stackers? We could just bring this one over here above and do the stackers over here. I think that'll be good. So let's add in a row of stackers. Let's just add in by single clicking our conveyors. That'll put one item in. The other one's going to come over the top of here. So we'll bring that straight down and up and in. There we go. Went one too far. And that is it. That is the shape that we want. Excellent. That really was not that too difficult at all. And then we've got a lovely little spot. I want to go in there. Let's just do that. Let's do that. Picker, connect it up. That is the shape that we need. Oh my goodness me. We are going to be getting a load of science out of that. Well, let's check this one that we've already done. Excellent. Unlock this one for 2 science. That is now ready to start going in. That is absolutely brilliant. And what's fantastic is once you've got the blueprints going, it is so easy to double things up. I am going to take all of that up to there. We're going to copy that. We're going to pop that right next to it. There we go. We'll make sure that that connects up nicely. So now we've doubled up this over here. I do also want this section here. I don't know why I didn't grab that. There we go. Very easy to hook that up. Then we can hook up this over here. So I'm going to go up. We'll grab that and connect that in. Yeah, that's good. Let's go down and we're going to grab that and hook that in. So we've doubled up this side. I want to double up this side as well. And that's it. There we go. So that's going to bring out the same shapes down here. We can have a look. Yep, that'll be good. And then once those goes through, that'll be exactly the same. That will double the output coming down here, double the output coming down there, and speed that shape up. So what have you learned? You've learned the basics, the cutting, the pasting, the flipping, the splitting. You've learned a little bit about blueprints. You've learned that really you don't have to be super efficient to enjoy this game as well. This setup here, don't copy it. Do your own thing. It isn't correct, I know, but it really doesn't matter. You can just do it and have fun. You can replace it. You can experiment. You can delete it all. You can try all sorts of things to get your shapes into the middle. So that's why I think Shapes 2 is an excellent introduction to factory games. So if you enjoyed this look at Shapes 2, a thumbs up would be fantastic. Let me know what you think with a comment and then check out the link below and maybe we'll have a future episode where we dive out into the wider universe. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.